Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going deep today into how to deal with a world that feels like it's
Yeah.
constantly on the verge of, well, imploding, basically.
Right.
We're looking at this piece by shaman Jon Rasmussen,
Oh, yeah.
and he really digs into this feeling we've all been having, like,
Oh, for sure.
everything's kind of intense right now
Absolutely.
with the climate and politics and the economy. Like,
It's a lot.
it's just a lot.
And it's completely natural to feel overwhelmed by it all. I think
Totally.
what I find interesting about Rasmussen's approach is that he doesn't shy away from those feelings.
Right.
He actually encourages you to kind of lean into those anxieties.
Oh,
Yeah, really feel them and then ask,
Okay.
so how do we find a way to move through those feelings, but with a sense of like personal power?
I like that because it's not about ignoring the problems.
No.
It's not pretending everything's fine.
Not at all.
It's more like, okay, how do we deal with this stuff without letting it just consume us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rasmussen uses this term paradigm shift
Okay.
to describe these huge changes that are happening globally. And it's not just some kind of abstract concept.
Right.
He's talking about very real, very unsustainable systems
Okay.
that are reaching a breaking point.
Like what?
Our reliance on fossil fuels, for example.
Right.
The growing gap between the super rich and everybody else.
Yeah.
Our disconnect from the natural world. All these systems are kind of starting to crumble.
Oh, wow.
And it's forcing us to rethink how we live
Yeah.
and interact with the world.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why he calls it a shift. Like the ground is literally shifting beneath our feet.
Right.
But how does this paradigm shift connect to that personal power idea?
Think about it like this.
Okay.
Imagine you're walking through a forest after a fire.
Oh.
At first glance, it's kind of bleak.
Yeah.
Everything's charred and seemingly lifeless. But if you look closer, you'll start to see little green shoots pushing through.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's new life taking hold.
That's amazing.
This is nature's way of rebalancing after a major disruption.
So you're saying maybe all this upheaval, this intensity, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
That's the perspective Rasmussen wants us to consider.
Wow.
He doesn't deny the very real challenges.
Yeah.
But he sees it as an opportunity.
Really?
Yeah, a chance for us to evolve and create something better.
Okay.
And the key to navigating this transition, he argues, lies in cultivating that sense of personal power.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But how long are we talking about here? How long will this intense period last?
Well, Rasmussen predicts this period of intense change could last for several years, potentially well into the 2030s.
Wow.
It's not going to be a quick fix.
Right.
He compares it to a wilderness survival situation. It's not just about having the right gear. It's about that mental and emotional resilience.
Right.
Having the will to keep going, even when things get really tough.
Yeah. That's a pretty sobering thought.
It is.
But it sounds like he's not just trying to scare us.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
He's offering a way to approach this challenging time with more hope.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, he's suggesting that we have more control than we realize over how we experience this whole transition.
Yeah.
Even when things feel totally chaotic.
That's a really powerful idea.
Is it?
So it's not about pretending everything's fine.
No.
But choosing how we engage with it.
Exactly.
Finding that balance between acknowledging the problems, but not letting them dictate our inner state.
That's it.
Yeah.
And this is where Rasmussen's background as a shaman really informs his whole perspective.
So how does that work?
Well, he suggests that the real paradigm shift isn't external, it's internal.
So it's not about waiting for some magical event to fix everything.
It's about shifting our own perception.
Yeah.
So that's
the game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're not just passive observers in all of this. We have the power to shape our own experience.
Wow.
Regardless of what's happening around us.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is a radical idea.
So how does shamanism actually help us do that?
Well, in many shamanic traditions, there's this understanding that the world we perceive with our five senses isn't the whole story. Okay. There are other layers of reality.
Really?
Yeah, other ways of seeing and experiencing.
So it's not about denying the physical world or escaping into some fantasy.
But not at all.
But recognizing that there might be more to it than meets the eye.
Exactly.
Like a deeper hidden reality.
Exactly.
And shamanic practices often involve techniques for shifting our perception, for tapping into those other layers.
Like what?
One common practice is what's called journeying.
Journeying. Okay.
This involves entering an altered state of consciousness to connect with, like, spiritual guides.
Wow.
Or power animals.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Right.
So it's not about denying the physical world.
No.
But recognizing there might be more to it than meets the eye.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a deeper hidden reality.
Exactly.
Okay.
And shamanic practices often involve techniques for shifting our perception.
Okay.
For opening our minds to these other realms.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, one common practice is what's called journeying.
Okay.
It involves entering an altered state of consciousness, not through drugs or anything like that, but through specific techniques like drumming, rattling, chanting,
Wow.
or even just deep breathing.
Okay.
In this altered state, the shaman can connect with spiritual guides or power animals who offer insights and guidance.
So it's like taking an internal journey.
Yeah.
Like a waking dream almost.
Exactly.
To gain a new perspective on things.
That's it.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to Rasmussen's point about mastering our perception. It's not just about forcing ourselves to think
No.
positive thoughts.
Not at all.
It's about cultivating a deeper awareness of the choices we have and how we experience the world.
That's right.
Even when it feels like
when
things are spinning out of control.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is really interesting stuff.
Is it?
And I'm sure our listeners are really eager to hear more about how this all works and how we can apply it.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned, everyone, because we're just getting started.
Yeah, we'll be back with more after a quick break.
So before we went down this whole shamanic path, we were talking about Jon Rasmussen's ideas about how to navigate this intense period of change, this paradigm shift, like he calls it. I'm really struck by this idea that we can choose how we perceive and respond to everything that's happening around us.
Powerful stuff.
It does feel empowering.
Yeah.
But also a little daunting, to be honest.
It is a powerful concept.
Yeah.
And it's important to acknowledge that it's not always easy.
Right.
There are very real challenges in the world.
Of course.
That need our attention. And action.
He's not saying to just stick our heads in the sand and pretend everything's perfect.
Right. Rasmussen's not advocating for some kind of toxic positivity.
Right. He's very clear about that.
He is.
But he seems to be pointing to a deeper kind of empowerment.
I think so.
This recognition that we have a choice.
We do.
In how we relate to even the most difficult situations.
Absolutely. He's not saying just think happy thoughts and everything will be okay.
Right.
He's talking about a more profound shift in our awareness. It's like we're being challenged to become the captains of our own ships.
Okay.
Even when we're sailing through a storm.
I love that analogy. But how does shamanism actually help us cultivate this power of perception?
Well, as we touched on before, many shamanic traditions understand that. The world we experience with our five senses isn't the whole story. Think of it like an iceberg. There's the tip we can see above the water. But there's this massive, unseen part beneath the surface.
Wow.
Shamanic practices offer ways to tap into these deeper, hidden layers of reality.
So it's not about denying the physical world. Or escaping into some fantasy realm.
No, not at all.
But expanding our awareness to include...
those unseen dimensions.
Exactly. And one of the ways shamans do this is through practices. Designed to shift our perception. To open our minds to those other realms.
I'm really curious about this. Can you give us a concrete example of what one of those practices might look like?
One common practice is what's called journeying.
Journeying,
It involves entering an altered state of consciousness. Not through drugs or anything like that. But through specific techniques.
Like what?
Like drumming, rattling, chanting.
Wow.
Or even just deep breathing. In this altered state, the shaman connects with spiritual guides or power animals who offer insights and guidance.
So it's like taking an internal journey, almost like a waking dream.
Exactly.
To gain a new perspective on things.
That's it.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this connects to Rasmussen's point about mastering our perception. It's not just about forcing ourselves to think positive thoughts.
No, it's about cultivating a deeper awareness of the choices we have.
Exactly. In how we experience the world.
And this is where Rasmussen's work, which blends his modern understanding with these ancient shamanic practices, can be really helpful.
So how does that work?
He offers practical tools and techniques.
Okay, like what?
For shifting our perception and stepping into that personal power.
So what are some of those tools? How do we actually make this shift?
He emphasizes the importance of starting small.
Okay.
It's not about making radical changes overnight, but about cultivating small, consistent shifts in our thinking and behavior.
Baby steps. I like that.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin?
He suggests starting with simply becoming more aware.
Oh, okay.
Notice how you're feeling throughout the day. Pay attention to the thoughts running through your mind.
Okay.
Observe how you react to the people and events around you.
So it's about tuning into our inner landscape, becoming more conscious of our thoughts and feelings before we even try to change them.
Awareness is the foundation.
Okay.
It's like turning on a light in a dark room.
Right?
Once you can see what's there, you can start to make conscious choices.
About what to keep and what to let go of.
Exactly.
Okay, so once we've developed this awareness, what's next?
Well, Rasmussen suggests a few key practices.
Okay.
One is to intentionally focus on the positive.
Okay.
It's about training our minds to look for the good, even when things feel challenging.
Okay.
It doesn't mean we ignore the difficult stuff.
Right.
But it does mean we make a conscious effort to notice the beauty, the kindness, the moments of connection that are always present, even amidst the chaos.
It's kind of like choosing where to point the flashlight in that dark room.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can choose to focus on the cobwebs in the corner, or we can choose to shine it on the beautiful painting on the wall.
Exactly.
And another powerful practice is gratitude.
Yeah.
Taking time each day to appreciate the good things.
Absolutely.
No matter how small.
Right.
Can have a profound impact on our perception.
Yeah. It helps us shift our focus.
Okay.
From what we lack to what we have.
Right.
And that can be incredibly empowering.
It's like those gratitude journals everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that formal, right?
No, not at all.
It could just be a moment of appreciation.
It could.
For a warm cup of coffee, beautiful sunset.
Or a kind word from a friend.
Exactly.
Gratitude is a way of life.
Right.
Not just a task to check off our to-do list.
Right. And another key practice Rasmussen emphasizes is taking aligned action.
Yes, it's not enough to just think positive thoughts.
Right.
We need to act.
In ways that are consistent with our values.
So if we want to see a world that's more
just
sustainable, compassionate, we need to walk our talk.
Exactly. Our actions have power.
They do.
They ripple outward and create change.
So ask yourself, what small steps can I take today to align my actions with my values?
It might be choosing to bike to work instead of driving.
Right.
Buying locally grown produce.
Volunteering.
Volunteering at a local charity. Or speaking up against injustice.
It sounds like all of these practices, cultivating awareness, choosing our focus, taking aligned action.
It's all about taking responsibility for our own experience.
It's not about waiting for someone else to fix the world.
It's about recognizing the power. We each have to create change.
Both within ourselves.
Within ourselves.
And it's in the world around us.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And that's ultimately what Rasmussen is inviting us to do.
Yeah.
To step into our personal power.
Yes, to become conscious creators of our own reality.
And to contribute to the collective healing and transformation of our world.
This has been such an inspiring conversation.
It really has given me a lot to think about.
I'm glad.
And I'm sure our listeners feel the same way.
Me too.
So we'll be back with part 3 after a short break.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're back and ready to get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually apply these shamanic principles to our lives.
Absolutely. Before the break, we were discussing how to shift our perception and reclaim our personal power during these times of intense change.
There's a process.
It all sounds very empowering in theory.
It is.
But how do we make it real?
Right.
In our everyday lives?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And the good news is Rasmussen offers some really practical advice.
Okay. For integrating these ideas into our day-to-day experience.
So how do we do that?
He emphasizes that it's not about making drastic overnight changes, but rather about making small, consistent shifts in our thinking and behavior.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
I like that.
It's about those little daily choices that add up over time.
So what kind of baby steps?
Well, he suggests starting with awareness.
Okay.
It's about simply noticing what's happening within you and around you.
Okay.
Without judgment.
Without judgment. Okay.
Pay attention to your emotions throughout the day.
Okay.
What triggers, stress or frustration?
Right.
What brings you joy or peace?
Okay.
Notice the thoughts running through your mind. Are they mostly positive or negative?
Okay.
Observe how you react
to
the people and events in your life.
Right.
Do you tend to react impulsively? Or do you take a moment to pause and reflect?
So it's about tuning in to our internal landscape.
Yeah, becoming more conscious of our thoughts and feelings and reactions.
Before we even try to change anything.
Exactly. Awareness is the foundation.
Okay.
It's like turning on a light in a dark room.
Right.
Once you can see what's there, you can start to make conscious choices.
Okay, so once we've developed this awareness, what's next?
Rasmussen suggests a few key practices.
Okay, like what?
One is to intentionally focus on the positive.
Okay.
It's about training our minds to look for the good, even when things feel challenging.
Does that mean we have to ignore?
It doesn't mean we ignore the difficult stuff.
Okay.
But it does mean we make a conscious effort
to
notice the beauty, the kindness, the moments of connection that are always present.
Always present.
Even amidst the chaos.
So it's kind of like we're choosing...
It's like choosing where to point the flashlight.
Yeah.
In that dark room.
Right.
We can choose to focus on the cobwebs in the corner.
Right.
Or we can choose to shine it on that beautiful painting on the wall.
I like that.
And another powerful practice is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Taking time each day to appreciate the good things in our lives, no matter how small, can have a profound impact on our perception.
It's like those gratitude journals that are so popular.
It's track rate.
But it doesn't have to be
that formal.
No. It could just be a moment of appreciation.
Right. Yeah.
For a warm cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset.
A kind word from a friend.
Gratitude is a way of life.
It is.
Not just a task to check off our to-do list.
And another key practice Rasmussen talks about is
like aligned action.
Aligned action, okay.
It's not enough to just think positive thoughts.
Right.
We need to act in ways that are consistent with our values.
So if we want a more just sustainable, compassionate world,
we have to actually act accordingly.
Exactly. Our actions have power.
They do.
They ripple outward and create change.
So it's really about walking the talk.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, ask yourself, what small steps can I take today? To align my actions with my values.
Okay. I like that.
It might be choosing a bike to work instead of driving.
Okay.
Buying locally grown produce. Volunteering at a local charity.
Right.
Or speaking up against injustice.
It sounds like all of these practices are about taking responsibility for our own experience.
It's not about waiting for someone else to fix the world.
Right. It's about recognizing the power we each have to create change.
Within ourselves and in the world around us.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And that's ultimately what Rasmussen is inviting us to do.
To step into our power.
Yeah.
To become conscious creators of our own reality.
To contribute to the collective
and transformation. This has been such an inspiring conversation.
It has. It's given me so much to think about.
I'm so glad.
And I hope our listeners feel the same way.
Me too.
As you go about your day-to-day.
Yeah.
Remember what we talked about. Pay attention to your inner landscape.
Choose to focus on the positive.
Practice gratitude.
Take aligned action.
Even amidst the uncertainty and chaos. Remember that you have a choice. In how you experience the world.
Choose wisely.
Choose wisely.
And know that you are not alone.
You are not alone.
On this journey.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.